Welcome to Trail Manners, the podcast so dedicated to mountain trails and running that they broadcast out of a 78 Volkswagen bus in the mountains. Who does that? Eric and Joel are your hosts and will bring you the trail life as you may have not heard it before. You hear about everything from gear reviews, nutrition to keep you upright and moving forward, and they'll even bring guests into the bus for conversations that you won't hear anywhere else. It's time for some running adventures on a higher elevation. The old 78 Volkswagen bus is fired up and headed to the mountains. Here are your hosts for Trail Manners, proudly representing the 801 with their passion and love for the trails, Eric Manning and Joel Hatch.
Welcome to the Trail Manners Podcast, episode number 7. Today we're going to be talking with Brian Beckstead from Altra Footwear. So if this is your first time listening, then thanks for coming. The Trail Manners Podcast is produced every week for your enjoyment, and show notes are found at trailmanners.com. Come back often, and please feel free to add the podcast to your favorite RSS feed or iTunes. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Trail Manners. All links are in the show notes. Now let's get after it. Okay, welcome to another episode of the Trail Manners Podcast. We are minus Joel Hatch today, who couldn't make it, but in the studio today, we have Brian Beckstead, who is the co-founder of Altra Running and also the vice president of sales. Brian, how are you today?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic.
Well, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you taking the time to get with us. I know you've been traveling everywhere because I saw you at the run event in Austin last week.
Yeah.
I know you're probably headed out of town next week, if I remember right.
Yeah, fly out Saturday for Europe. Yeah.
That's tough. So.
Oh, well, I know.
Someone's got to do it, right?
It's just tis the life, I guess, if I have to.
You can't do global domination by staying here, right?
No, that doesn't just happen sitting on your butt.
So, again, I can't tell you how much we appreciate you taking the time out. And, I'm going to jump right into it because anywhere you look now, I don't care, it's social media, magazines, the street, the trail, anywhere, the supermarket, Altra Footwear is everywhere. I mean, just recently, you guys have announced that you're the sponsor for Western States. Yep. You're the sponsor for Wasatch.
Yep.
And now you come out and say, yeah, we're going to be the official sponsor for Hard Rock.
Yep, that's right.
You've got a couple of the granddaddies of the trail life, trail scene going on right now. You're doing a lot of things, but I want to take you back, if you will.
Okay.
So me and Joel were running Malin's Peak on a wintry day years ago.
Yeah.
And sure enough, here comes this guy down the trail, and it was you. And at the time, I think you were manager at a Canyon Sports.
Yeah.
And you had a pair of shoes, and me and Joel were looking at your shoes, and we were like, what do you got on? And you're like, oh, you got to check these out. And you'd basically taken a pair of shoes and designed them, took them to a shoe guy or whatever you call those guys, shoesmith, and chopped them down a little bit. And that's when I first heard of what you guys were about ready to do without knowing what you were about ready to do, right?
Sure, yep.
Okay, so I want to know, and the people out there, how did this happen?
Yeah. Well, boy, this happened. This would have been, I'm trying to remember what year that this all kind of happened. It would have been, 2008, 2009.
Yeah, right in that neighborhood.
There. And, one of my best friends, Golden Harper, and I worked together we ran together in high school and college, and we both ended up getting degrees in exercise science and biomechanics and started looking at all that. And Golden got this idea one day that he would take a traditional shoe, and at the time, every single shoe on the market, I mean, quite literally, absolutism here, pretty much every shoe on the market was a 12-millimeter drop from heel to toe. Wow. So the midsole was a 12-millimeter forefoot and a 24-millimeter heel. And he thought, well, what if we just took out that heel? When we get out of bed every morning, we're flat, right? We are, when we're born, we're flat. So why when in a running shoe, why do we have this elevated heel? So he took it out. He called it zero drop. Since he took out the drop, he called it zero. We actually called it zeroing at first. And he called me up and was like, okay, Brian, I just did this thing. I took out this heel. You should try it. And I'm like, okay, why not? Let's do this, right? And so we started doing this. We would actually cut up the shoes. It kind of got fairly scientific in the point that we would bandsaw the shoe up to the forefoot, belt sand the heel down, and glue it back on, and we would caliper it, right? So it was flat or zero drop. So if you ever hear the term drop or zero drop, that was us way back in the day.
Nice.
And it worked. It was like, oh my gosh, I feel way more stable. I feel more balanced. This feels more natural. My biomechanics are better. I mean, it was just better. And so we started telling everybody about it, including all the shoe companies. And we were literally just trying to give it to them for free. We're like, hey, look at what we're doing. You should do this, guys. And I mean, I still remember, I won't name the brand, but they were right. I know right where they are, and they literally laughed at us at the booth when we pitched it to them.
Wow!
We said, "Hey, here's what we're doing to your shoes. It's just better. You should do it. Build it. We're calling it zero drop." And they looked at us and said, "What's zero drop?" And we're like, "Well, your shoe's high on the heel, and this balances it out." We gave them the whole spiel, and we did this to several companies, and most of them just laughed at us, or they were very polite and said, "Okay, interesting, fair enough, whatever." And nothing ever came of it. And so, the next outdoor retailer came around, and nobody was doing it, and they just thought we were crazy. And so we got together. Jeremy Hallett was in on it, Golden Harper and myself, and we said, let's start a shoe company. And actually, Jeremy said that to Golden, and Golden's like laughed at him, and then they're like, "Well, actually, maybe we should." And like called me up, and next thing we know, we're like, "Yeah, start a shoe company." And one thing led to another, and we found all the, got the funding and got sued and got all, did all that stuff. Quit my job at Canyon Sports, went without a paycheck, and but we really believed in it, and. Funny story about this is, we got our very first prototype of the Lone Peak. Okay. This was 2010. So this was late summer 2010. And we're like, and I was actually running Wasatch 100 that year. And we got them about 3 weeks before Wasatch. And I was like, well, let's see what this is made out of, right? And I had extra shoes in my drop bags just in case. And sure enough, I ran the entire race in the Lone Peaks. First, literally, I mean, we're talking like $100,000 pair of shoes here, right? And
that's pressure.
Yeah, it was, exactly. Like, don't blow this. And honestly, it was really interesting because I had a history of struggling with blisters. Okay. And a couple years previous at Wasatch 100, I finished the race, and my feet were I had blisters galore. And I actually I started crying at mile 97, with knowing that I just knew right then and there at mile 97 of Wasatch 100 of 2010 that Altra would be successful.
That's
and
awesome.
I doubled down my efforts from there, and here we are 5 years later, and like you said, global domination is our goal, and we are well on our way. And so that's kind of the foundation. That's how it happened. We absolutely believe in our zero drop concept. We believe in our foot-shaped toe box. Of course, that's the element that allows your toes to be able to splay and balance, where we feel traditional shoes are just neuter your toes, just crush them. So from there, we do all sorts of cool stuff in our shoes and our products. We think way outside the box. We put Velcro on the back of every trail shoe for gaiters.
Yep, saw that.
We do that. We do sandwich stone guards. We do removable stone guards. We just partnered with Vibram. For the new Olympus 2, we're using NeoShell by Polartec instead of Gore-Tex. So we're always doing outside the box stuff. We feel like it's more breathable than Gore-Tex, and that's where we're going. We're doing apparel now, and I mean we got it all.
You got to have it all now with all your followers out there. They want more branding, right?
I know. I wait till you see our new jacket that's coming out. We have this jacket that every ultra runner in the community is going to want.
Did you hear that, everybody?
Yeah.
You've heard it here, right? Every ultra runner in the community is going to want the new jacket. And what's the release date?
The release date's February 1st.
Okay, well, there you go. Perfect for Valentine's Day, right?
Yeah.
So you know, and one thing I have to bring up about this, and the reason why I wanted to bring this up first, is what you guys did is just so amazing, because you hear a lot of people, especially nowadays, I'm tired of working for the man, and I don't like this, and I want to. You guys literally, and you just said this, I went without a paycheck. You dropped everything, and you followed a passion, you followed a dream, and you went for it. Yeah. Now, there's stories out there where it may not work out for people, but I think a lot of that is you never know until you try. Yeah. Right? And good or bad, you never know what's going to happen. Trail Manners podcast, Trail Manners website, that's been thought about for a few years. and kind of came the same way. It's like, you know what? The heck with it. Let's do it. I mean, now we're not anywhere near the level of Altra, but hopefully we'll have jackets coming out too.
For sure. I'm expecting that. Yeah, I'm expecting it.
But I just think it's great because you always have an excuse. You're always scared. But when you put all that aside, if you believe in your product like you did, I mean, I got chills when you said I was at mile 97 of Wasatch, and I cried because I knew this was going to be a success.
Yeah.
And it's those moments, those pivotal times that you're going to look back on a few years from now, and you're like, wow, or you already have, but even more when, you are a global dominant more than you are now. You're going to look back and remember that moment. I'm going to remember that now when I see Ultra shoes. I'm like, oh man, I remember the Wasatch 100 story.
That's right. That's right.
So I think that's something good for everybody. It's you make that leap and you jump into it.
Yeah. And for us, I think we were at that point in our lives where, we hadn't fully developed in the career path. And so it was, I think we were young enough and stupid enough, but also just in that point in our life where, we want to make a difference in the world. We want to do something special. We want to do something. And we really, and we did, and we do really believe in the brand. And I think that authenticity, I don't know if that's the right word, but that authenticity has been felt by the community, that we're doing something different. We clearly believe in it. And people have gravitated towards that, and it shows in our product. It shows in I think it shows in our marketing. I think, and I hope it does. And clearly, the growth's been awesome. It's humbling to know that so many people have responded to my crazy belief, and it's been fun to see that and be a part of the growth.
Well, I mean, again, it kind of goes back to that same process of you surrounded yourself with the right people, the people that believed in it. So it wasn't that negative, feeling. You got up in the morning and you said you doubled down. I mean, you were hitting it hard. So, and then you go to the marketing thing. And this is something that I'll always remember. I was watching TV one day years ago. I don't know what I was watching. It might have been a football game. It was some primetime type event. And next thing I know, there's this helicopter commercial. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then a guy's running down the road, and I'm like, what the heck? And I'm like, oh my gosh, it was an Altra Footwear commercial. And I thought, I never would have seen that. Like before that time, I don't remember seeing, other companies in the trail community having commercials, let alone TV wise. I mean, you get the YouTube videos and the social media stuff. I saw that. I'm like, what are these guys up to, man? I mean, holy cow.
Yeah.
Where's their HR department? Where's the applications?
Yeah. That was fun. I mean, it was, we were really happy to be a part of the Icon Health and Fitness family. So that's our parent company. And they believed in us too. And they kind of pitched me and said, okay, Brian, we think that we should do a TV commercial for your brand. And I was like, no, okay. And we went down and it was amazing. It was one of those kind of pinch me now type of things when we actually flew down to New Zealand and we dumped a lot of money into this commercial.
Well, if you're going to shoot a commercial, you might as well do it in New Zealand, right?
You're totally right. I mean, it's like, might as well. But, the funny thing is we actually looked at bids for like Hawaii. We wanted kind of like an epic tropical location type of deal. And the New Zealand is actually cheaper. So,
wow.
We cheaped out and went to New Zealand.
Yeah, that must suck.
But no, it was amazing. And it was a risk. It totally worked. I think that's how we do it. We like to do things different. We like to be borderline abrasive, definitely aggressive, but we like to be disruptive, I think is a good word for it. And we did, and it's totally worked. So.
Well, like you said, you're outside the box again, right? Outside the toe box.
That's right. That's right.
Changing some things around. So I had the opportunity to go down to Austin last week to the run event and saw you guys. And I mean, first of all, your guys' booth, even at OR last year, was amazing, right? I mean, everybody flocked around. It was like, oh my gosh, it's time for the Ultra show.
That's
I'm
right.
like, what is going on? But you've got a new shoe coming out.
We do.
And I know a lot of people have seen it. It's been on social media and it's coming out. But I got firsthand look at it and kind of the functionality of it. And I got to say, when I first saw it, I'm like, I don't know. But then I saw it in action last week. I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right? So when does it come out? Give us a little take on it.
So the background for this is Altra's always been about biomechanics, right? We always have believed that zero drop allows you to run more naturally. It allows you to run with less impact and so forth. And so we always thought, man, wouldn't it be cool if you could get live feedback while you're running? Kind of give you a range on, okay, am I hill striking? Am I toe striking? What's my impact? Am I favoring one leg over the other? So this has been a 2.5-year project for us. We have gone through, I can't tell you how many prototypes and so forth. And we've we have developed the world's first fully interactive smart shoe. So what it does is it's got dual accelerometers in it with a full-length flex sensor. I mean, it is a full-on computerized shoe that as you are running, it will give you live feedback on where you're landing. So are you hill striking, midfoot? I mean, it'll give you exact angles of impact. It'll give you details in terms of if you're favoring one leg over the other. It'll actually give you the amount of pressure per foot as well. So, I mean, are you favoring one foot? Are you landing hard? Are you landing soft? It'll give you cadence. It'll give you contact time in terms of how long your foot's on the ground. I mean, we're talking, and this is live. You literally,
it's a live coach.
It's a live coach. Yeah, you can literally just be running. It'll work with any application, any downloadable app. So any iPad, any iPhone, any Android, anything, any device with a downloadable app. It will work with certain watches. So GPS watches. It works with anything that runs Android Wear.
Okay.
Particularly a new watch coming out by a brand called iFit. So
okay, yeah.
And that's, we partnered with iFit on the whole project, and which is a live coaching system as well. And so now we're partnering with them, and it's been an awesome research and development type process. It's
Seeing as it goes,
unbelievably cool. We want to push the limits of everything we do, and we're really excited for it. So this launches in March, $200, which considering that a lot of just shoes are ranging in that $150 to $200 range, this is a $200 shoe that comes with basically a computer inside of it. So as you're running, or even post run, right? If you don't even want to get the live feedback, you can post run and say, oh man, at mile 8, I just started heel striking better. I started favoring that left leg at mile 12. You can see that as while you're running and post run. So we're really excited about it. It's called the IQ, and it's going to be launching in March of 2016.
Wow, I was impressed.
It's cool,
and I could imagine.
It's cool.
I mean, technology's changing, but 2.5 years ago when you guys first sat down to probably talk about this, it was like a pie in the sky.
Totally.
Can this happen? Would it work? What do we put? I mean,
no one's ever done anything like this. I mean,
exactly.
it's totally new. And so it was like, sure, let's kind of, and it just, at first we kind of put some resources towards it. And then all of a sudden we found a couple ways to do it, and it grew and grew and grew until this last year we've been like full on hitting it.
That's great. Cause guys like me, I'd almost do it just as a laugh, right? Put them on and be like, come on, man, what are you doing? Right foot, left foot. Are you, it would tell me things. I'd probably just sit and go, I just don't even know what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
Make me feel worse, right?
Well, and the fun well, you know what, though? Here's the fun thing, right, is we didn't want to just give you data, right? And so with our experience and with our focus on running technique and biomechanics, if you buy an Altra shoe, for example, you're going to get a 12-page education brochure. You get all that information on the inside of the box. So with that data, we're actually giving you suggestions on how to improve. Because we don't want you to be a downer, right? We want you to say, here's where you are. Here's opportunities to get better.
That's awesome.
It's not going to be, okay, you suck, right?
That's okay, then I'll look at it then.
Yeah, so don't feel bad. You don't need we don't want to be downers, but it's basically information that says, okay, here I am as a runner. What can I do to get better? And that's the goal of the project is runners like data, and if there's opportunities for you to improve using that data, let's do it, and let's get you to run better, let's get you to run healthier, and let's give you the knowledge to do it.
And I was noticing too, it almost is like cheers you on when you do it right. It's like it was like putting these sayings on there, like "great job, you're in the zone," or I don't remember exactly, but it would give you some make you feel better.
Totally.
Like I was watching the lady run on the treadmill, and I'm watching it, and she was, kind of messing up on purpose too to show the difference. And then she hit the zone, and I was excited for her.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like, yeah, you did
I'm like,
it.
you did it.
Yeah, it's
like
fun. It's fun.
We're
really excited. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a quick break. But when we come back, I want to talk to you about what you do now. Because we know about your Altra. We know what you're doing here. But we want to dig into more of, you're a runner. You're not just working here. You get out and you get after it too. So we're going to take a break. We're going to come back with you to cover a few more things.
Hi, this is Scott Hyme, and you're listening to the Trail Manners Podcast, bringing you the dirt and the vert.
Okay, we are back with Brian Beckstead, and I forgot to mention we are at the mothership here. We're at the Altra Footwear offices. I'm looking out here and looking at Brian's sales team, his customer service team, some top secret documentation all over the place, so I can't get into it. But we are here in Logan, Utah, with Brian Beckstead in his office. So, we just talked about a little bit about the history of Altra, how it came about, how you did it, what you guys are all about. And as much as I've known about Altra and known about you, that was really interesting. So, but now let's really crack a nut. Okay. We're going to talk about you.
Uh-oh.
So you talked earlier about biomechanics and your degree and where you went to school. You ran a little bit, but you are a serious
I'm out
trail
there.
runner.
Yeah, I'm out there.
And I'm going to just start in right now. And you did UTMB last year.
I did.
And the first thing I'm going to say about that is when people were live feeding this, you had some friends over there, somebody that knew you, because they kept posting your photo. All the pictures I saw of you were smiling.
Yeah.
And it made me sick. All right. So I'm thinking, okay, this is one of the, if not the, and it's personal preference perspective, toughest trail races in the world.
Yep.
And every single photo of you had a grin on your face, like, check me out, I'm in a candy store. So, and you finished that race in 38:29.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, all right, I want to know, it's on my bucket list. It's not going to happen tomorrow or next year. What's the deal? I mean, is it just amazing? I mean, I see photos. It really is.
Yeah. UTMB was, it was really cool for me. And, it's been on my bucket list ever since I first saw the videos, and it is better than advertised in terms of beauty. It really is. For me as a diehard ultra runner, I've been doing them I'm entering my 11th year of ultra running. I've been doing them
So you started when you were 9.
Yeah. Actually, I was 22.
Wow.
I was 22. So, and I guess I finished my 11th year because I just turned 34. So I'm kind of done 11 years of ultra running, and I absolutely love it. So yeah, UTMB is just a kid in the candy store for a dork like me.
Okay, so walk me the short version, because it's a long course, and I know a lot happened, and it was a little while ago. But there's like 2,600 runners, right? Something like that. Okay,
yeah.
And you were in the 500 range. So that's amazing. Number one, I mean, finishing the race. Let's face it, getting there. Okay, getting there's hard.
Yeah.
You don't just say, hey, I want to sign up for this. Give me here's $100, right?
Yeah.
So first of all, getting in the race is hard. The pictures of you smiling all over the place and your time, I mean, it's a phenomenal race. How did this unfold for you? How come you were so happy?
Yeah, well, I know we're talking about me, but it kind of was one of those kind of pinch me now moments as well, because my wife and I had our 10-year anniversary.
Wow.
So that was our 10-year anniversary trip, which is very cool. And Altra had a big booth there too.
Oh, okay.
So it was there on business,
awesome.
Right? So I had to go over on business. And the whole week before, I was doing interviews with French magazines and Swiss magazines, and just talking. And, as I'm running, I'm meeting some guy from Romania. I don't know if you're out there, but some dude from Romania, a guy from Japan, like all wearing Ultras. And so I'm just talking and running, and I purposely wanted to just enjoy it. I didn't want to go and just race. I'm inherently competitive, and it just with life, I now have 3 kids and work, and so I didn't have quite the training I wanted to. And so I just made a mental note right off the start that I'm going to have fun and enjoy this regardless of what happens. And I started at the very back. I was at that church back there. I mean, it took me 5 minutes just to get to the starting line.
Wow.
So take my time down by 5 minutes.
5 minutes, okay.
Yeah, next
so
time.
we got a 38:24.
I mean, it took me, honestly, the first little while was great. Then it kind of get a little frustrating that first night, because I was just stuck in people. And so it was great because I started out really slow. And I just worked my way, the first aid station, I was like 1,800th place, 1,800. And I just the whole race, I just chipped away and chipped away and chipped away. And, finally about 35 miles in, I kind of got a little like room.
Oh my gosh.
And, which was great. And then I literally had the best 10 hours of running of my life, from about mile 35 till, mile 60. I mean, it was the best. I mean, it was the best 10 hours of my life. It was just unbelievable. The Italian side of the race is just amazing. As the sun's rising and you've been running for 12 hours, and just the adrenaline was amazing. And then it was a hot year, so there was no rain. I mean, it was hot, so it got really hot late in the day. And I was kind of worried about the second night out there. And I'll tell you that. Well, I started so slow, and I just passing people. So the second night, I'm like, I got this huge surge, and I just started passing more and more people, and just absolutely loved it. And it was fantastic. Now keep in mind, I also in the back of my mind knew that 12 days later I was going to run Wasatch 100.
That was the next thing I was going to bring up.
So I kind of left a little bit in the tank there, but I had a great experience at UTMB, and I highly recommend to go out there. It really is the pinnacle of ultra running. If you're a diehard guy, you're a kid in a candy store.
Well, and I'm doing the quick math, and I'm not a genius, but if you started, say, in the back and you ended up where you were finish-wise, you passed over 2,000 people.
I passed about 2,000 people.
Okay,
yeah.
so that's a lot of people to reel in, because I hear that all the time late in the race. We got to reel some people in, but you just said I'm going to reel in 2,000 people on this race. So that's entertaining, and and the next thing, the atmosphere there. I mean, everything you see, it's just like it's a party. People are just in awe of this thing. So I mean, how did you take all that in? Because you have to at some point.
You do, and it's that balance where you don't want to get too wound up, because then you release those emotions and endorphins. So you're actually trying to hold it back a little bit. But yeah, I mean, the side of the mountain, there's 40 people just cheering with bells, allez, 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 and it just gets you pumped up. And it's just a party every town. I mean, I was at some little Swiss town at like the second day. I mean, it was 4 a.m. Right, 4 a.m. and the town is full, right? I mean, it's like, who are these people? Like, get a job or something. I don't know, but it was great. It was awesome. I mean, every village came out. I mean, they would just sit there drinking their coffee at 4 a.m. Allez, allez, and
it's 4:30, time for milking.
Yeah, exactly. It was great. So I mean, it was the vibes, the whole, all the countries, the towns. It really is a neat experience.
Wow. So
I enjoyed every second of it.
Well, you could tell. And I mean that sincerely. Like, not just photos I've seen on your blog post of the race itself, but people were literally live tweeting it, and Brian's doing great and everything, and you're just smiling. Yeah. And you could see it was genuine. It wasn't like, oh, there's a camera, I'm gonna put a face on, because we've all been there. And it's just something you can't smile if you don't want to. So, I mean, that was the first. And then you kind of cheated me out of something here, but I'm gonna say it anyway. So as you said, 12 days later, after traveling the globe, okay, time change, jet lag, also tackling one of the toughest races, you come back and you're like, I guess I'm going to run Wasatch 100, which in itself is a very difficult 100-mile mountain race. Yeah. So, and that race you finished sub 30.
I did. Okay, that was kind of my goal. I really wanted to go sub 30 in that one.
And a lot of people's goal is to go sub 30 for sure. But that doesn't include racing 12 days before in the toughest race on the planet. So mindset, okay? You had fun. You're in UTMB. You took it all in. You're home. You're recovering. You have work. You have your family. Yeah. Now it's Wasatch time. Yeah. What was your mindset there? Because you had a goal. Yeah. So how did you adjust everything? Say, I got to go sub 30.
Well, first of all, it was my 5th Wasatch. So Wasatch, I know Wasatch, right? I'm comfortable with it. The only, for 10 years I have run right into the finish, if not racing, at least pacing. And so Wasatch is my home course. I was confident. I knew I could do it. And so that's what I did. I just chipped away and chipped away. I ran it with a couple of friends, buddies of mine. We ran almost the entire race together. Wow. There was about 8 of us, and 3 of us finished together, so to speak. But as people go faster or slower. But the first 75 miles were great, and I tell you what, from 75 to 90 was just, I thought I was going to die. I was like, one of my
Swiss villagers cheering
I was like, I need a Swiss village here to cheer me up. But and then I rebounded, and I was really happy. I love Wasatch 100. I mean, the Lone Peak, for example, is that we built it for Wasatch, and that's my shoe for Wasatch. And Wasatch is my home territory, home course, and I had a blast. And I'm just happy to. I just feel like life's hard. It's never easy, but I just have to kind of remember that I'm just lucky to be a part of Altra. I'm lucky to have my family, and I am super lucky to be able to run. Yeah. And I absolutely love to run. I love being outdoors. Fly fishing is my other hobby, so I just love running and fly fishing.
That was next.
I'm not looking at your notes. I'm sorry, but I absolutely love being outdoors, and that's kind of the me time, and it's my favorite thing. And just try to find a balance. I'm not as competitive as I was 4 or 5 years ago, just with work and family, but it's actually more fun being in the middle of the pack. Yeah. So I love it. It's great.
See, and that's where I hang out.
I had it all wrong all those years, trying to get fast, and I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah, I don't like the pressure.
No, and I've kind of taken that pressure off me. I'm inherently competitive, but I've just kind of the last couple of years, I've really just said I'm just going to go enjoy it. I love being in the mountains. I love running. I love the community. I love all my friends in the community, and it's been really fun, kind of just toning it back competitively. a little bit and just enjoying the races for what they are.
Well, and for somebody, in your shoes, no pun intended, when you're in those races and you see a pair of Altras, like you mentioned, UTMB, I mean, that's got to be in the back of your mind, and you may not boast about it, but you got to look at that and go, wow, you're making a difference too. Yeah. So all the competitive things or whatever, you see people finish, and I still see the Facebook feeds, the Twitter feeds, and all the pictures. Oh, I got my shoes today. Check them out. Here they are. I'm gonna go for a run. I mean, that's got to be pretty exciting. And same with a race.
Yeah, like I said, you have to just, as hard as it is, because it's not easy, but you have to enjoy those moments for what they are, and just feel lucky that I'm a part of it.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, it's super impressive. Not just UTMB, which obviously is, but the fact you did Wasatch. I've done Wasatch. I've gone sub 30, and I'm not fast, but it's awesome what you did. Yeah. So,
thank you.
And then that's going to bring up the next thing is you are a giggly fisherman. Is what I would call you.
Love
so
fly
I
fishing.
see all these pictures of you, and it's these big old hogs.
Yeah.
And you're just grinning ear to ear, and it's like secret spot.
Pretty much.
Secret spot.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, and you've done some fast packing with a pole
absolutely.
to get to spots and running around miles and miles and miles, dropping a line in, taking off again.
Yep.
So it incorporates all the things. Where did you get your passion for fishing?
I grew up fishing with my dad.
Okay.
We used to go up to huge.We, used to use flying bubbles. Just started when I was a little tiny kid. My family would go up. I have a picture of me 5 years old up in the huge.We catching fish. And then it just progressed from there. By the time I was 10, that was the only thing I wanted for Christmas was fishing equipment. And just drive my mom and dad crazy about taking me fishing. As soon as I got old enough to drive, I would, every other weekend I was up backpacking and fishing. My degree, I have a double major in exercise science and outdoor recreation management. So I'm a Knowles graduate. I've done all that stuff.
Solid.
And then it just, with my running, it just kind of became this evolution of fast packing. And now I don't even have time to go fast packing. So I just do it in a day now. I call it ultra fishing.
Well, I turned around here where I'm sitting, and I'm like, is that a fly rod?
Yeah, I've got a fly rod in my office. Yeah.
So he's living, he's got a rough life, folks. He's got to travel to different countries. He's got to develop shoe lines that he wears and uses, and he's got to fish. And, that's a tough life.
Yeah. So that's my training is I love going for these 15, 20-mile runs, fishing all day, and then running back. So I'll do, 20 to 40-mile runs in the summer, and then try to get fishing in. I don't have time to fast pack. I don't have time to run and fish. And so my wife's really supportive where it's kind of every other weekend I get a day, and I go and do all of it in a day, and it's just awesome.
And that's come up a few times just sitting here talking to you is, time, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And that's something that we touch on a lot here for the Trail Manners podcast. We've had Scott Jaime on. We've had a few guests. One of the things that is interesting to hear and we like to hear is how do you balance it? You've got family, training, traveling, your ultra fishing team, right? And you racing. How do you balance all of those things?
I try. It looks like I'm fooling people because it looks like I've balanced it, but usually I'm kind of like this scatterbrain train wreck some days it feels like. But it's hard work, it's effort, it's dedication. It's also everything I do I love, right? It's not like any of this stuff is hard, painfully difficult, right? It's stuff that I love. And so I'm a morning person, so I get up and run. This week I wake up at 5 or 5:30 most, or 6 a.m. and go running a lot in the mornings. I like to get home before my kids are up and awake, and so I can spend morning just 45 minutes. My wife and I talk about it that with my kids particularly, who are my number one priority, it's a quality versus quantity.
Yeah.
And so because I still need my alone time for me, the way I'm built, I still love to be alone in the mountains, fly fishing and trail running. So we make it work. I get up early in the mornings, get my miles in, spend some time with the family, go to work, come home, and usually most of my employees know that there's an hour or two in the evening that just don't contact me. I won't answer the phone. I'll call you back at 8:30 when my kids are asleep. Yeah. And so that's what I do. I people always say, well, how do you fit it in? And I usually respond, this crowd won't, you guys understand it, but it's, well, how many hours do you watch TV a week? Well, that's my time that I don't watch TV. I don't play video games. I don't do any of that. It's just prioritizing what's important. And so that's how I squeeze it in. And, I'm lucky to travel, and my favorite thing to do to get over jet lag is to go run. So, I don't take a nap when I get to the hotel, right? I go run, and sometimes it's hard, but I love running. It's ingrained in me, and so you make it a priority.
Okay.
That's what it's about.
Now, you mentioned you do a lot of traveling, and I know from some, all the social media stuff and talking to you in the past, you travel a lot. You run everywhere you go.
Everywhere
you just mentioned that.
Absolutely.
So name a few places, a few gems, not maybe the stuff people would think about. What are some of the places you've run on your business trips that you just kind of go, wow, that was, I want to go back, or that was amazing?
Yeah. Actually, I a lot of times I call them my urban adventures.
Okay.
My favorite to date urban adventure was Hong Kong. Hong Kong was just unbelievable. I mean, the lights and the bay, and I mean, so anytime I'm in Hong Kong, I just love running in Hong Kong. Wow. That's been one of my favorites. Our European headquarters is in Paris, and so I'm in Paris about 3-4 times a year. No. And Paris has there's actually shocking amount of trails and parks in there. So there's actually, I can do a 15-mile run in Paris, and half of it's actually on dirt or grass. I mean, there's actually single track trails, grass parks that connect everything. So I love running in Paris. Paris is fantastic. And Japan. Japan is just awesome. Japan's actually has embraced ultra more than any other country. Wow. If you go to an ultra race in Japan, you're going to see we'll probably be the number 1 or number 2 brand being worn. So we're very, very strong in Japan. And
big in Japan, right?
Big in Japan, that's right. Get it done. So I love running in Japan too. You have to make sure you have cell service, because the signs are they're not in English, so it's not like Japan. It's translatable. Like in France, you can actually translate the signs a little bit, but no, not in Japan.
You just gotta know where you're going.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and then this past weekend was a big weekend for you too.
Yeah.
So those of you who don't know, this past weekend was the Hard Rock 100 lottery. I'm watching the tweets on there, and sure enough, there's Brian Beckstead.
That's right.
So this will be your first
Hard Rock.
Hard Rock.
Yeah, it's the 7th time I've put in. So okay. I have. This has been a 7-year project for me.
Okay.
So yes.
So you're watching or hearing. I don't know how you found out. I don't know if you watched Twitter or someone let you know, but you heard the news. What happened? I mean, what did you go through next?
It's funny. I was actually thinking I just had this feeling I was gonna get drawn. And rather than sit there and think about it, I actually went running.
Nice. And that's why you paid the
it was like, rather than sitting at home ho-humming, wishing, I actually went running during the lottery. And when I got back, I had 8 messages in my inbox, phones blowing up, and texts and Facebook and all this. And so that was just cool, that it's something that we just signed a sponsorship agreement, and literally when I signed the agreement, they were like, okay, there's no favoritism here. And I was like, I know, but I also just knew I was going to get in. Yeah. And so that was fun. And so anyway, I'm really happy to we'll be down there as a sponsor, and I'll be running it too. So
double win again, business
double
trip,
whammy, business trip, that thing. And having done Ultra Trail Mount Fuji, having done UTMB and Wasatch 5 times, Hard Rock doesn't quite intimidate me as much as maybe it should. And I've gone down and paced it a couple times, and I'm just so happy to go and get a Hard Rock finish.
That's going to be awesome.
And it's going to happen.
Yeah, there you go. I love that. I love that attitude.
Yeah.
So what else do you have planned? What's your 20? I know Hard Rock obviously has got to be just right at the top of the charts.
Yeah, Hard Rock's my focus. It's been fun with me traveling. A lot of times I'll try to, if I'm going to be there, I might as well go and race. And so I'm hoping to be racing Translantua in Hong Kong in March, which will be really cool. Eco Trail, 80K in Oslo, Norway in May. And then I want to revisit a race I haven't done in a long time, which is Bear 100.
Oh, nice.
So I think that'll give me a little bit, a few extra weeks post Hard Rock. I've done Wasatch 5 times, like I said, and so I think I'm going to kind of take a break from Wasatch, even though it's still like my baby. I'll be there working an aid station and probably pacing for sure, and we sponsor that too, so we'll have all that. But I think I'm going to do Bear 100, which is here in Logan.
Yeah,
so it's kind of,
I can almost see the
it's
start
like my
line if
new
this wall was here, right?
the start's 2 miles from my house, and so that's kind of my racing schedule right now. I'll do Squaw Peak 50 as well here in Utah. This will be my 10th Squaw Peak 50.
Wow.
So I'll get my 10 at Squaw Peak this year,
awesome.
which is in June here in Utah. So that's my racing schedule. Definitely molds around work quite a bit.
That's awesome.
And I love it.
Well, and I look at my race. I mean, obviously in Utah here, and I look at my racing schedule, and I'm like, okay, we're here in southern Utah, we're here in central Utah, we're here in northern Utah, and you're over here going, I'm going to be in Hong Kong, I'm going to be in Norway, I'm going to be in, and I'm like, that must suck, right? Well, my Motel 6 or the back of my bus, and you're living at large, so
and I think when it's all said and done, like you said, I had about 3 years. And I mentioned this earlier. 3 years, I think, before the podcast, but I had 3 years that were pretty scary. And we sacrificed a lot, and we seized the opportunity, and now we get to kind of reap some of the rewards.
Roll in it and enjoy it a little bit. That's what you do.
Might as well, right?
That's right.
That's right.
So, is there anything on your bucket list that you haven't done? You mentioned you had some bucket lists you've knocked off, like a UTMB. Is there still something on the horizon, or something that you have on your bucket list you want to do?
I think the one that, and I don't know when it's going to happen, but I want to do the Grand Slam.
Okay.
That's my ultimate bucket list.
Gotcha.
I still have never done Western. I've never done Leadville. I've never done Vermont. And I really want to do, obviously I've done Wasatch, but I think the bucket list is the Grand Slam. That's my number one bucket list. And I don't know when it's going to happen, but that's my ultimate goal right now. And outside of that, it's just enjoy every race, enjoy the opportunity. And so that's where I'm at.
Nice. Well, by the time you do it, it might be the Grand Slam sponsored by Altra.
Yeah.
You got 2 of the 4.
We'll get there. We'll take our time, but yeah, we have no intention of slowing down our business.
It's good to see.
And nor are we going to rest on the laurels that we have. I mean, we're always pushing, doing new stuff, and
as I can see, looking around the office,
absolutely,
it's kind of fun for me being in here too. So.
Yeah, no cameras, no cameras,
no cameras, or
audio only. Please,
these glasses I have on do not have a camera built in.
Yeah.
So one thing we're going to end with, and I know you're busy, you got to get to work. We like to do for our listeners a little lightning round. So I'm going to ask you a few questions,
okay,
and you just kind of hammer off whatever comes to your mind. Some of these we've used in the past with our guests, so some of them are pretty good. I'll break it in easy for you to get you going. What is your favorite race buckle?
Oh boy, favorite race buckle. Honestly, oh gosh, I don't even know. I thought I did Cascade Crest a few years back, and I thought that was really cool.
Okay,
so
that's one we haven't had yet.
That's mine. That's I think the coolest buckle. I think the buckle that I want, and I guess my next bucket list that I didn't mention, is a sub 24 at Wasatch.
Oh, yeah.
So that's my coveted buckle, which I don't have yet.
Cheetah.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Crimson Cheetah is going to happen one of these days.
Nice.
So that's another bucket list. But that's bucket list buckle that I want.
Nice. Well, I got my sub 30 buckle on. Nice. It just makes me feel cozy.
Cool. Yeah, of course.
So what advice do you have to a new trail runner? Not an ultra runner, but a new trail runner.
I think it's just don't be afraid. Just go and enjoy it. There's a kind of the structure that road runners have where it's speed and time, and I'm gonna Strava this, and I think one of the fun things about trail running in general is you don't have to worry about the speed as much. Don't worry about the distance as much. Don't even worry about go get lost.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, usually it's like go downhill, follow the city lights. It's not that hard. Don't be intimidated by trail running, and just go and enjoy it. Don't get caught up in the speed, time, distance, routes, all that garbage. That's what trail running, for me at least, that's what it is for me. I actually stopped wearing a watch several years ago. So I have no idea how many miles I run a week. I don't know how much time when I race, Wasatch 100 again this last year, I didn't even know if I was on sub 30 because I didn't have a watch until the very last aid station.
Wow.
So I'd get every aid stations. I'd kind of, okay, I'm on pace roughly, but I just go and enjoy it. That's worked for me. Trail running is about being outside and being outdoors. It's not about getting your Strava time or getting your 6 miles in for the day. No, go and enjoy. Take whatever time you have. That's how I am. I've got 70 minutes. I'm going to go and maximize and enjoy that 70 minutes.
Nice. What about what's your typical meal you eat the night before a race?
I'm a big protein guy, so 2 nights before a race, I always have a massive steak.
Nice.
And I don't do carbs before a race. I think I do carbs during the race. I'm more on that kind of that Vespa fat is fuel, fat burn type thing. So that works for me. The night before a race, I don't like to do the steak. I almost always do a salmon. I feel like salmon, some rice and vegetables tends to work really well for me. And then the 2 nights before, I do a big old steak.
Nice.
So, yeah.
What is your favorite race distance and why?
Ooh, 50 miles. 50 miles is my favorite. I feel like it's, you can... Hundreds I always struggle with hundreds. Just I don't know what it is.
Going through the night.
Going through the
Another
night.
day.
Oh gosh, and you're like foggy for the next week. Where 50 miles, I can go bang those out. I absolutely love 50-mile distance. To me, it's my fave.
Nice. What about what is your favorite race performance and why?
Ooh, favorite race performance. I think a few years back, I really made a mental just go and sacrifice my body at Squaw Peak 50. I'd done it so many times. I'd never been able to break the 9-hour barrier. And it, that's a brutal course. 9 hours flying. Yeah, it's a tough course. I've been like 9:0, 9:10, 9:09, 9:11 a couple years, 9:20 several times in the 9:20s. And I didn't even take a watch that year, and I just went for it. I just hammered it. And I ran 8:50.
Nice.
And
wow.
That was awesome for me.
Huge.
That was huge for me. A third place was massive. I've won a couple ultras, little dinky ones where no one shows up, but that was where I felt like I gave everything I had that day, and I was really happy, and that's my PR there. And
wow, that's a nice PR.
Yeah,
I've run that race 3 or 4 times, and I'm not in the single digits anywhere. So that's a tough race too.
Yeah, so I was happy with that.
What was the first ultra race you've ever ran?
Goblin Valley 50K.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's pretty obscure. It's
it
October,
is.
right?
Yeah, it's October. It was funny. I just gotten married, and I decided to run St. George Marathon that year. So I ran St. George, and like a week later, I was like, that was fun. I should go do one of those trail ones.
Oh wow!
And so a month after doing St. George Marathon, my very first marathon, I did Goblin Valley 50K. Turns out 6 miles is a lot farther than 32 is a lot farther than 26.
It sounds different.
And I've never really touched the marathon distance since. I got hooked right then.
Nice.
Next year I did Bonneville Shoreline Trail Marathon and Squaw Peak 50, and that's just ever since that.
History.
Just history.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. What's your favorite Disney movie? You got kids.
Oh boy, favorite Disney movie. Well, when I was a kid, it was Aladdin, and now. I don't know what's my favorite. My kid, honestly, even when I was a kid, I loved it, and my boys love it. Is Lion King. I'd say Lion King. Lion King. I loved it when I was a kid. I was kind of a little old. I was kind of on the tail end of that age wise, and I liked it then, and it was almost like I was embarrassed to like it because 12-year-old boys don't like Disney movies, But my boys love it. I think Lion King's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure.
What is your favorite brand of trail running shoes?
Ultra, I think.
Okay.
Okay.
I saw you thinking through that one pretty quick there. So if you could run with anybody, it's past or to current date, and you could pick their brain, you want on your little fishing runs or whatever, you could take one person with you just to talk and pick their brain. Who would it be? Oh
boy. I'm gonna go. It's actually I actually had did this. I actually ran with this person, and it was like the coolest person ever. And
thank you.
I want not you,
sorry.
Eric. Thanks, thanks.
Sorry.
Yeah, no,
Maitland's
close. But Mud and Guts Miller, Dana Miller. I shared about 4 miles with him once, and I look back on some of his times at Wasatch 100 in the late 80s and early 90s, and it's like. Back then they were like map and compass, and he was still running 21 hours.
That guy,
and every time I've only spoken with him probably a half dozen times, and every time it's like, cool. Just I'm interested in fast guys, but I'm more interested in the pioneers of why would you the first guys to have run Hard Rock 100? I'd love to pick those guys' brains. And Dana Miller's one of those pioneers that I've looked up to over the years. And every time I've only had a few intermittent experiences with him, and they've all been amazing. And I would love to just go and run 50 miles with him and just pick everything out of his brain.
It's ironic you said that, and I got goosebumps again today. I ran my last, what was it, the year I went sub 30 at Wasatch, I ran with him coming into Big Mountain. And when I first came up on him, I didn't know it was him. Right.
Yeah.
And I knew who he was, but I just came up on him and, wasn't really paying attention. We started talking and I hadn't looked over yet. You're just talking, kind of watching your footing. And he's like, how do you think you're going to do today? Kind of real polite. I'm like, well, I was really hoping to go sub 30, but I don't think I'm going to have a chance today. And he said, oh, you've got plenty of time. And I kind of looked over and I went, oh my gosh, that's Dana Miller.
Yeah.
And coming from that, I have a really close friend of mine and Dana Miller are really good friends. And I didn't know that till after the race. So you said that, it kind of brought me back a little bit.
I mean, the fast guys, and there's some great athletes out there and I love picking their brain, but those pioneers in terms of who started this ultra running thing and what was those are the type of people that really interested me, and Dana's one of those guys.
Well, you look at it too, is everything we have nowadays to run, all the science behind it, all the more experience and the years of people screwing it up and figuring it out, and the gels and the night nutrition and the shoes and the apparel, and you look back and you're like, how did they get through on literally like an Nalgene type canteen?
Like they're doing hiking boots, Nalgene bottles, and Snicker bars, right?
Exactly.
It's like map and compass, and it's like, wow.
The chafe to fun ratio had to be off the chart.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
I see the same thing when I see some of those guys and I watch those older movies, and I'm excited tonight. I'm actually going to go see the Barkley Marathon movie, so I'm super psyched. But when you see those, and you kind of look and go, my gosh, he doesn't got, there's no liner in those, there's no grease stick or squeaky cheeks or anything else. He's going to chafe, and the nutrition and the aid stations and just the luck we have nowadays, it cracks me up.
So there you go.
Well, I know you got to get, I want to tell you again, I appreciate you taking the time. I know you're a busy guy. It's always fun to have fun guests on and learn a little bit about them. And, thanks for everything you've done. I mean, you don't probably see it as much as most, but you've done a lot for trail running in general and ultra running with the shoe line and, following your passions. And that's something here we're, promoting all the time. So thank you so much for taking the time. Yeah. It's been great. Wish you luck. Hopefully we'll see you at Hard Rock. Maybe we'll catch you after the race and talk to you to see if you're smiling like you were at UTMB.
I'll be there, and I'm pretty positive I'll be smiling.
And if you run by me, I will scream like a Swiss person, just so you kind of get that little. I'll ring a bell.
Yeah, I love it.
All right. Well, thanks, Brian. I appreciate it, and have a good, safe trip.
Hey, thanks, Eric, and thanks to Trail Manners blog for coming up.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we can keep going, and don't forget to. Listen to us on iTunes, Podbean, and check out our website. You can also check out more at www.ultrarunningfootwear.com, right? Is that the whole thing?
Ultrarunning.com.
Dang it.
Or ultrafootwear.com. They both go the same place.
See, and that's where I combined them all. So maybe that one should go there too. So go check them out. Check out the new IQ. Super cool feature. Innovation. So thank you. Thank you for listening to the Trail Manners podcast. We'd like to thank Brian Beckstead for taking time out of his day, inviting us up here to beautiful Logan, Utah, to the Ultra Running headquarters. We encourage everybody to head on over to Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Follow these guys at Ultra Running, or head over to their website at ultrarunning.com. You can also follow us here at Trail Manners at Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm at Trail Manners. Head on over to our website at trailmanners.com. Hit us up on the contact page. Let us know how we're doing, what you want to hear about, or if you want to be on the show. So until next time, this is Eric Manning and Joel Hatch reminding you, you don't get what you wish for, you get what you work for. Now go get it.